we haven't covered Birds of Prey a lot on this channel. I've talked about it a little bit, specifically about Mr. McGregor's, whose name I still can't pronounce, and definitely because he continues to say odd things about this film that I think could possibly jack this film up, considering the theme. I have no issues mispronouncing his name, Ewan McGregor. Nonetheless, we haven't talked too much about Birds of Prey. I will say that a lot of the characters connected to the Birds of Prey, I've never been the biggest fan of, aside from Black Canary, who is tokenized. I believe Jesse Smollett's sister plays. Anti-way. More weird things are coming out, being reported. Ewan McGregor is proud that Birds of Prey tackles everyday misogyny. Okay. And that's sort of what we talked about. Of course, the theme of this article is speaking about is from Entertainment Television Canada. And they are discussing when Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel have opened the door for a wave of don't put this movie in the same breath as this movie. Like, let's not do that, okay? They didn't open the door for nothing. Nonetheless, he says, and they report, we talked. Well, this is the again, Ewan. Ewan says we talked about it. We were both really proud to be in a film that attacked misogyny. Not only in sort of the extreme ends of misogyny, but also every day in mild misogyny that women have to put up with. This film's peppered with references to that. We were just proud to be a part of that and to be misogynist in the movie, to help flag that up to guys who need to know that time's done. Jesus. Why do they? It's like they want me to make videos like this, man. Like they want me to make these videos talking about this, and then if the movie, let's say, doesn't do what they initially anticipated, they're gonna blame folks like myself, calling us toxic and all of this, and it's like, this is the corniest way, right, to address what I feel like is cliche, right, when it comes to these characters. Dogs, again, always bark when I start my videos. I don't know why they insist on doing that. Nonetheless. Hey! Let's. I'm doing a video, Perry. The benefit when it comes to not even just in current comic books, but also with live action depictions of comic book characters, be it in television or film or movies, what have you, doesn't matter. When you deal with, let's say, a white straight male, the reason why I think these have stuck has nothing to do with racism, misogyny, or anything like that. I don't think that has anything to do with it. It's because they are forced to be creative with those characters because they don't have some social ill to fall back on, right? If they are indeed, let's say, straight white males. They can't play on really anything because people look at them, certainly in America's culture, as, okay, they have the advantage in comparison to everybody else. So it forces writers to have to be creative with those characters. Now, granted, the best writers can do that with those other characters as well. But the lousy, crappy writers, actors, directors, screenwriters, so forth, comic book writers, they feel as if they have to use characters that are not straight white men as means to promote some sort of ill, generally against the straight white men. But they highlight that and they hyperemphasize that, and that controls the narrative. I'm not about to sit up here and think positive of a movie that you're admitting that it's on the nose. You're admitting that the driving force, this theme, is to cornily, is that a word? Is one a day, crap on men or misogynists, right? This is again how they view the world. It's never maybe a reality they wanna address. But not only are they not going to do it be subtle about it, they're going to put it in your face. They're bragging about it. The actors are bragging about it. It's clearly a theme that they want to tackle. People don't want to watch that. Or people are not going to be, if it's, again, I can't say that this is exactly how the movie's going to be. I'm just going by what they're telling me. But if it's like how they are promoting it as, it's going to be lousy. People are going to have their criticisms. Definitely a lot of men are going to have their criticisms of it. And you can go and say it's not for me or what have you. And then when men don't watch it and, y'all don't like female heroes and stuff like that, we're going to go through this cycle that we've already been through with several of the other movies and so forth. But going back to my original point, they got to hyper-emphasize. You get a black character, got to hyper-emphasize race. You get a female character, got to hyper-emphasize her being a woman, tackling the misogynist, tackling this concept of or addressing feminism or being feminist and being on the nose with it. It's one thing to do it and be subtle about it, make a great story. But if you have to try to promote it like this is what we're doing, you're telling me right there what your personal agenda is. And we talked about this in my last stream and how that's where we're at, unfortunately, with comic book culture, is that people are now utilizing the actors, the directors, the writers are using comic book culture. A lot of these guys weren't even part of this stuff growing up, but they use this because it's hot right now, they utilize it to promote their personal social agenda. I talked about this with Jack Schaefer of Black Widow, screenwriter of Black Widow, and she admits how she never was into comic book stuff or superhero stuff until she started working with Marvel, and she couldn't pass this opportunity up to basically again be part of this her personal social preference to act that out, right? To write that out, be a part of those projects. She even specifically says that anything that's canon that goes against her personal social beliefs, no matter if it's the character or not that she's handling, she doesn't want to be a part of a project that does that, right? And again, that's what bad writers do. It's the equivalent to me, because I'm an anarcho-capitalist, taking a character like Misty or something like that and then making her an ANCAP, right? Even though she's a cop, right? You can't do that. Or you can, but that's lousy, right? That's you just hijacking. And this is unfortunately what you're going to start seeing a lot more of, because it's hot. It's the end thing to do, and everybody has to wear their social preferences on their sleeves now. But Birds of Prey, come on, bro. It's like, what makes, well, again, I guess this goes back to the echo chamber, the like Stan Twitter, the social justice left on Twitter, and they create these echo chambers, and they think how they view the world is how everybody else views the world. And it's not like that at all. They're loud, but it's not like that. It's not like that. And basically they're setting this film up like this is a film designed to take it to the man and lecture men, and which is the vast majority of comic book culture anyway. This makes for a terrible, and then you're promoting it as such. If you had any sort of talent, you just put it in there, and you would just not be arrogant about it. You be subtle about it, and you can still address it, and we can maybe have these conversations. I talk about this with Wonder Woman and how even in some of the books that she's had, she is the literal feminist hero, right? But she's had stories that has addressed some of the Some better, some worse, but she's had stories that has addressed this idea of feminism. If you can get positive outlook on the concept of feminism, but has done it in a way that feels like you're not being beat over the head with it. The best writers can do that. The lousy ones can't. This is why so many of the comic books now suck, because all it is just people wearing their social. It's the writer using the characters as a vehicle for their personal social views. That's it. Personal, social, and political views. This is what's happening a lot of, and you're going to see more and more and more and more of this as more movies are created, shows are created, and these guys just cannot resist. They cannot help themselves. They can't resist the urge, and they can't help themselves. They're like, I got to do it. I have to do it. And they're going to brag about it. They're arrogant enough. So, Ewan McGregor, congratulations and good luck with the birds of prey, and let the chips fall where they may. Pour it and I don't know it every time I make